This is the only dopamine detox protocol that actually works, according to neuroscience research. And it's not what you think. If you've been scrolling through endless TikToks promising that a dopamine detox will magically reset your brain and cure your phone addiction, you've been fed some serious misinformation. Most dopamine detox advice is based on fundamentally flawed science. There is a protocol that works, though, and it's backed by real research from Stanford neuroscientists and addiction medicine experts. Let me break down what's actually happening in your brain and why the trendy version of dopamine detox is basically useless. Then I'll give you the exact protocol that top researchers are using. First, let's destroy the biggest myth. Dopamine isn't some toxic substance you need to flush out. It's a crucial neurotransmitter that your brain needs to function. Dr. Andrew Huberman, the Stanford neuroscientist, explains, dopamine is a currency involved in movement initiation, en route to goals when we think or believe that we are on the right path to those goals. It's really not about the sense of pleasure or reward, but converting desire into physical and cognitive effort to achieve a particular goal. When you completely avoid all dopamine-triggering activities, you're trying to turn off one of your brain's most essential operating systems. Mice depleted of all dopamine will literally starve to death. The term was coined by Dr. Cameron Sepah, a psychiatrist at UCSF, in August 2019. He never intended for people to actually avoid all dopamine. Sepah himself has said, dopamine is just a mechanism that explains how addictions can become reinforced and makes for a catchy title. The title's not to be taken literally. What Dr. Sepah actually developed was called Dopamine Fasting 2, an evidence-based technique to manage addictive behaviors by restricting them to specific periods of time and practicing fasting from impulsively engaging in them to regain behavioral flexibility. Notice the key words: specific behaviors, specific time periods, and behavioral flexibility. Before I give you the actual protocol, you need to understand what's really happening when you feel addicted to your phone. It's not that you have too much dopamine, it's that your brain's reward system has become hijacked by activities that provide instant, effortless gratification. Here's the science that matters. Chocolate increases dopamine 1.5 times above baseline. Nicotine causes a 150% increase. Certain hard drugs increases it by 1,000%. Technology use induces a dopamine response of 50 to 100% above baseline. Your phone isn't hijacking your brain like hard drugs, but the constant availability and variable reward schedule creates compulsive usage patterns. Dr. Anna Lembke, who wrote Dopamine Nation, puts it this way: the smartphone is the modern-day hypodermic needle, delivering digital dopamine 24/7 for a wired generation. The problem isn't the amount of dopamine. It's the frequency and unpredictability of the rewards. Instead of trying to eliminate dopamine entirely, the protocol that actually works focuses on breaking specific compulsive behavior patterns while maintaining healthy sources of motivation and reward. Here's the exact framework. Step 1. Identifying your target behaviors. Dr. Sepah's research identifies 6 categories: emotional eating, excessive internet usage and gaming, gambling and shopping, pornography and masturbation, thrill and novelty seeking, and recreational drugs. Pick one specific behavior that's actually interfering with your life. Don't try to eliminate everything at once. If you spend 4 hours a day mindlessly scrolling social media when you meant to study for 30 minutes, that's your target. Step 2. Choose your time frame strategically. Dr. Sepah recommends starting with minimal disruption. Try 1 to 4 hours at the end of each day. 1 weekend day per week, 1 weekend per quarter, and 1 week per year. This graduated approach lets you build behavioral control without setting yourself up for failure. Step 3. The actual abstinence period. During your chosen time frame, you completely avoid your target behavior. No modifications, no just 5 minutes, no exceptions. If you're doing a social media break, delete the apps from your phone. Here's the crucial part most people miss. You're not trying to avoid all enjoyable activities. You can still listen to music, talk to friends, exercise, read, or cook. You're only avoiding the specific compulsive behavior you identified. Step 4. Replacement activities. This is where the protocol either succeeds or fails. You need planned, engaging alternatives ready before you start. Dr. Albers from Cleveland Clinic emphasizes, while you're doing the dopamine reset, make sure you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Eat a balanced diet and exercise regularly. Huberman's research adds another powerful tool: cold exposure. 1 hour of head-out cold water immersion at 57 degrees Fahrenheit caused a 250% increase in dopamine that lasted for at least 2 hours. Even brief cold showers can increase baseline dopamine levels for 2 to 5 hours. Step 5. The return and reflection phase. After your abstinence period, you mindfully reintroduce the behavior with strict boundaries. Maybe you allow yourself social media only between 7 to 8 p.m. The goal isn't permanent elimination, it's regaining conscious control over unconscious habits. What should you expect? The first few days are hardest. You might feel bored, anxious, or restless. After a week, most report improved sleep and reduced anxiety. By 2 weeks, you'll notice improved focus. After 30 days, you start enjoying simple things again. This protocol won't magically cure depression or anxiety. It won't permanently rewire your brain. What it will do is give you practical tools for managing specific compulsive behaviors. Think of it like going to the gym for your self-control muscles. Important warnings. Extreme versions that include severe social isolation or restrictive dieting can harm your health. If you have a history of eating disorders, depression, or anxiety, talk to a healthcare provider first. Building new neural pathways takes 2 to 12 weeks, sometimes up to 90 days for noticeable improvements in dopamine receptor sensitivity. The most effective approach combines these behavioral techniques with supporting lifestyle changes. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, social connection, and engaging hobbies all support healthy dopamine function naturally. Cold exposure, meditation, and even certain types of music can provide dopamine boosts that support motivation rather than creating compulsive patterns. People who successfully complete these targeted behavioral changes often discover new interests and capabilities they didn't know they had. When you're not spending 3 hours a day mindlessly scrolling, you suddenly have time to learn guitar, cook elaborate meals, or actually finish those books you've been meaning to read. The key insight is that your brain constantly adapts based on what you repeatedly do. Every time you choose to scroll instead of study, you're strengthening those neural pathways. But every time you choose the harder but more meaningful option, you're building different pathways. This protocol isn't trendy or extreme, but it's based on decades of research. Your brain is remarkably adaptable, but that adaptation happens gradually through consistent practice, not through dramatic detoxes. The goal isn't to become a monk who never enjoys anything. Information without action is just more digital noise. It's time to move this from your watch history into your real life. I want you to pick one target behavior and one time frame right now. Drop it in the comments below to make your declaration official. Consider this the Quiet Outlier Accountability Log. Post it, then come back in 7 days to reply to your own comment and tell us how your brain feels. We're watching for your updates.